Tonight, a bash victim's plea for harsher penalties for crime.
The death of a young greyhound sparks safety concerns.
The Premier seeks legal action over Townsville's mayor.
And a free sing-along at the Strand.
This is 7 News with Joanne, Desmond and Nathan Spurling.
Good evening, thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
Premier David Crisafulli has announced adult crime, adult time laws will be fast-tracked. He says they'll be in place before Christmas, just as another victim of crime speaks out. An Olympic gymnast who says she was assaulted outside her home.
Kylie Shadbolt has been left battered and bruised.
She obviously has punched me several times, and the others watched on and had a good giggle.
The Olympian says she was trying to do a good deed, offering groceries to her neighbour when she was set upon in her Cairns street.
When I could get off the ground, I ran straight to my neighbours with blood pouring down my face.
But she says the pain extends beyond her injuries.
Pretty much living in fear and behind closed doors. I haven't left the house.
Her family today begging for change.
You need to make this stop now. This is out of control.
Premier David Crisafulli has vowed to deliver harsher sentencing for youths who commit serious crimes.
We've had a massive consultation in the form of an election. The drafting of the laws are well and truly underway.
The state's new leader doubling down on his promise to Queenslanders.
I'm not going to Christmas and seeing a generation of Queenslanders exposed to no consequences for actions.
But Catherine Hayes from the Youth Advocacy Centre fears it won't address the underlying issues.
Queensland locks up more kids than any state in Australia, and we have the highest reoffending rate in Australia, so detention as we're currently doing it doesn't work.
Shana Macbeth, 7 News.
The death of a young greyhound on a local racetrack last week has raised concerns about the industry's fatality rate. More greyhounds have been euthanased this year than last, and welfare groups are demanding tougher standards. Imogen Brooks has more.
22-month-old Velocity Jaleesa was running in her 5th race on October 25 when she was severely checked at the first turn, suffering a wrist injury. She was euthanased by the industry vet. The death has sparked concerns from animal welfare advocates of the region's rising fatality rate. Analysis of the industry database has revealed 10 dogs have died in Townsville this year, 5 following racetrack injuries, and allegedly 2 that could not be rehomed.
These dogs die in agony, in pain. We don't believe that any dog should die in this horrific manner for so-called entertainment and a cheap bet.
The video of Velocity Jaleesa's race was removed from the official Racing Queensland website.
And they deem it to be too sensitive and censor it straight away. And yet, in the next breath, it's marketed as family-friendly.
The Queensland Racing Commission says in September more stringent criteria around euthanasia guidelines were implemented and that each track is thoroughly inspected and deemed suitable before a race. The Coalition for the Protection of Greyhounds wants breeding caps in place and an urgent parliamentary inquiry into the industry.
Thanks for that, Imogen. Premier David Crisafulli has sought legal advice on Mayor Troy Thompson's future. He went to Crown Law, which represents the government on public sector issues, within 48 hours of being elected. Mr Crisafulli has previously said he thinks the mayor should resign for the betterment of Townsville.
It's as though a really proud city its reputation's been dragged through the mud through no fault of its own, and it needs to be cleared up.
The Premier says he hasn't yet read Troy Thompson's response to the show cause notice.
A new scientific report has revealed temperatures across Australia are rising. 8 of the 9 warmest years on record have been since 2013. That means we're in for longer fire seasons, more intense rain and severe cyclones.
Australia's weather and climate are becoming more extreme.
Australia's terrestrial climate has warmed by around 1.5 degrees since national records began.
The CSIRO and Bureau of Meteorology's State of the Climate 2024 report shows there's been an increase in extreme heat events, longer fire seasons, more intense heavy rainfall and rising sea levels.
In southwest and southeast Australia, we've seen a noticeable drop in rainfall between April and October. In contrast, parts of northern Australia are seeing increased rainfall during the summer wet season.
Ocean temperature around the country also continue to warm.
While sea surface temperatures have increased by just over 1 degree.
Scientists say the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere is rising, which contributes to climate change.
Greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide, are at the highest levels seen on Earth in at least 2 million years.
If we continue at the current rate of emissions for the next 7 years, we will likely lock in 1.5 degrees of global warming.
And we're being warned there'll be more intense cyclones, with up to 4 predicted this season.
Climate change, particularly a warmer atmosphere, warmer sea surface temperatures and higher sea levels will also amplify heavy rainfall and future storm surge events associated with tropical cyclones.
Frank Russo, 7 News.
Almost 1 in 5 Australians are suffering from long COVID, with a new study revealing how it's causing damage to hearts. Queensland researchers have looked at chronic inflammation affecting 50 long COVID patients. They've confirmed heart damage is a side effect of the virus.
This needs to be something that maintains research momentum, because there are really a lot of people out there who are suffering.
Researchers say the new findings could help paint a clearer picture of what a long COVID diagnosis really looks like.
The One RAR Army Band are warming up their vocals and instruments for a free concert on the Strand this weekend. In a return to the popular seaside stage, Sunset Vibes begins at 6 p.m. Saturday with everything from modern beats to Aussie classics.
Chantal Anderson has been performing in Townsville's 1st Battalion Band since 2020.
I can't speak more positively about this job. This job is so rewarding and I enjoy every day that I come into work because it's always different.
The One RAR Band's lead singer says this weekend's show is a chance to share their appreciation for the community with music.
I love doing this kind of stuff because, I get to spend time with our community who gives us so much, so it's a great opportunity to give back.
With everything from modern beats to old school favourites.
From top 20 kind of tunes that are out at the moment, down to some classics.
Oh, we've got a pretty epic show in store for everybody on Saturday, and it's covering everything from modern beats to Aussie classics.
The One RAR Band have been hard at work.
Get to see an hour worth of music, and it takes hundreds of hours to put that together.
The performance will begin at 6 p.m. at Burke Street Headland, and everyone's invited.
Absolutely family friendly. Please stop by, bring a picnic blanket, grab some fish and chips or whatever you want to do.
Bethany Ross, 7 News.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic event, isn't it?
Sold on that. Sounds great, Joe.
Right, well, ahead tonight, what else is happening around Townsville this weekend?
And in the spirit of Halloween, regional Queensland's most spooktacular places.
Townsville turns to 7 News to keep up to date on local issues, and we want you to be a part of it. If there's something happening in your street, your suburb, we want to know about it. Send us a message or drop us an email.
And thanks for joining us here on 7. If you're looking for a fright tonight, you may be in luck, as Queensland has the highest number of haunted hotspots of any state. Hotels and pubs dominate the spooky sightings, and coincidentally, property growth in those regions has never been better.
Ghosts and ghouls have made Queensland their haunting ground in hotels, pubs and restaurants.
I was surprised, but at the same time, not so surprised.
The Ray White Group has discovered 296 haunted locations across Australia, 66 of those in regional Queensland.
You see a lot here and there on social media and stuff.
No, it's actually not spooky, no.
We're here in Toowoomba, which some call the paranormal capital of Australia, and this is the Royal Bull's Head Inn, the oldest standing building in the city, where several ghosts have been sighted.
And I'm more frightened of the people from the hotel across the road.
While Maryborough, the home of Mary Poppins, boasts 4 haunted locations, the same amount reported in Townsville and Rockhampton.
It seems regional Queensland is a hub for that, for better or worse.
Atom says the spooks aren't scaring people away, as property prices across regional Queensland continue to grow.
It spirals outward. from the centres such as Brisbane, Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast.
Aussies are more than willing to get spooky for a treat, with homes decked out for Halloween tonight. Tom Duffy, 7 News.
Well, locals say they're devastated to see the lawn chairs in front of a popular cafe on the Strand removed after numerous complaints were made to council. The venue took to social media saying it's heartbroken by council's request for the removal of the chairs, which were a little gift to the community.
I was really, really upset actually about it when it came up. So hopefully we can change it. It would be great.
Well, I don't think there's anything to complain about. Get to look at Magnetic Island and enjoy a coffee.
It's something that they want to give back to the community, which should be applauded, but we need to make sure that safety is forefront.
Council says it hopes it can work with a spirited goat to bring back the chairs.
Now let's take a look at what's happening around our region this weekend with Bethany Ross, thanks to Queensland Museum Tropics.
Thanks, guys. Head down to Strand Park on Friday night to celebrate the end of the working week with the Strand Night Markets. Enjoy Townsville's favourite food trucks, local arts and crafts and kids' entertainment, with the night markets running until December. Global Dance Collection and Otherwise Bar is bringing the Day of the Dead to Townsville. From 5 to 10 p.m. this Saturday, celebrate life and death with performances by some of North Queensland's finest dancers, circus and music artists. Lux Noir has reopened at 799 Flinders Street in time for Halloween, with the Rocky Shop of Horrors showing every Friday and Saturday night. Tickets are $89 per person. And remember, if there's anything you'd like to include in this segment next week, you can email us at newstsv@7.com.au or post on our What's On Facebook page.
There's plenty happening, isn't there? Thanks for that, Bethany. And there's plenty happening in sport as well. And the gridiron season begins this weekend.
It does, Joe. Townsville versus Cairns. And as always, there's been plenty of trash talk in the build-up as the Fire torched the WNBL's newcomers in last night's season opener.
Stream 7 News anywhere, anytime, live and on demand on 7plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.
And welcome back for all of tonight's sport. The Fire will only get better. That's the message from Alicia Spurling following Townsville's trouncing of Geelong United in last night's season opener. The co-captain dropped a game-high 17 points to claim bragging rights over sister Keeley, whose efforts ensured the hosts only suffered a 26-point defeat.
It didn't take long for the Townsville twins to face off under the hoop.
Frolling down low in the reverse lay and go.
Alicia answered immediately and edged ahead in the sister showdown in last night's season opener.
Ellis slicing through the keyway, dumped off. Frolling, another 2 for her.
Now representing her home city, the co-captain spearheaded the Fire's offence. The forward finished as the game's top scorer with 17 points, pipping her sibling by a bucket. And the rivalry didn't end at the full-time buzzer.
What did you say to Alicia as you arrived here?
I just called her A-flop.
A-flop? And what did you have to say to your twin who's 7 minutes younger?
She's salty that she lost by 30.
An impressive away win for Townsville, with the new-look squad still gelling.
This coaching staff, these girls, are so fun to play with. I think we've got a lot better to get to, which is really exciting, and everyone's really bought in.
Import Zaya Cook served up 15 points and an early warning to the rest of the competition.
I just want to win. I want to win that championship. That's the main goal. I love these girls' work ethic. I think that we got a lot of dog in us, and you got to have that dog in you. And being here, they definitely going to bring it out of me.
Fellow American Lauren Cox collected 6 rebounds, dished out 4 assists and dropped 12 points.
You know, we defended quite well tonight, I thought. And all in all, it was a great first hit-out.
Next up, a trip to Perth for a battle with the Lynx. Nathan Ferguson, 7 News.
And it's been a big 24 hours for the Frolling family. Alicia and Keely's brother Sam was today named in Australia's squad for the Boomers' next 2 Asian Cup qualifiers. The Illawarra Hawk is set to play against Thailand on November 21 and then Korea on November 24. Cowboys forwards Jason Taumalolo and Griffin Neame are both set to play crucial roles for their respective nations when Tonga takes on New Zealand for the right to face Australia in the Pacific Championship final. With both sides packing plenty of punch up front, Saturday night's clash in Auckland could be decided who wins the battle in the middle of the field.
They're big, powerful
powerful side, and they won't be taking a backward step. So us, especially for that middle as a forward pack, we've got to make sure that we weather the storm, and I think that's the main priority for us.
Big JT will start for Tonga, while Neem's looking to make another big impact off the bench following his near 50-minute stint against the Kangaroos last weekend. The Regional Queensland Gridiron League kicks off this weekend with our Townsville Cyclones travelling to Cairns for their season opener. It's where our reigning Reef Bowl champs will run into a Falcons side containing a former NRL star.
It's a new season and there's new belief in Cairns, but baiting the reigning champions comes with risk.
I think this year we should take it easy. Townsville obviously a little bit hard going, but I think they're getting a bit old, so we'll see how they go.
It's going to be on the takens, mate, so Townsville look out.
Some strong recruiting has the Falcons confident. One new addition is former NRL star Josh Dugan.
We got a good squad that's returned back for the upcoming season. We got some new guys coming in, so trying to get them into the fold of things, and we're on the up and up.
Townsville's turnover has been big. The Cyclones will field up to 8 fresh faces in the opening round, and one of the team's veterans can't wait to see the debutants do their thing.
Oh, 100%. We love having new rookies, and especially when some of them have got speed, because in this game, speed kills.
Giving away the game plan, perhaps, or rather returning serve in the trash talk.
Cairns is all over the news, calling us a little bit old and a little bit slow. So, I just wanted to make sure that they know that, we've done some good recruiting.
There are other sides in the league, but this rivalry's red hot.
Oh, look, Cairns is always Townsville's biggest rival, just like Townsville is always Cairns' biggest rival. We love that. We love the energy that it brings to the game. So, we're always happy to play Cairns wherever, whenever.
A fiery contest on Saturday night awaits. Nathan Ferguson, 7 News.
Nah, I think it'll be pretty tame, Joe. How good is that? I love the banter. Bring
fantastic.
On the game.
It's a growing sport, isn't it?
Thanks, Joe.
Right, thanks for that, Nate. After the break, Livio joins us with all the weather details, and Scott Hillier has our fishing report.
Good evening, Livio, Regano with tonight's weather. Well, the weather's gone all quiet over North Queensland with almost no rain in sight. The heat's really turned up these last couple of days, especially for inland areas, and I'm afraid there are no cool changes on the horizon. Feels almost like wet season without the rain, and soon it will be. Temperatures today range from 18 degrees at the bottom end to mid-30s at the top. The warmest was Charters Towers, where the mercury hit 34 degrees. To the satellite loop, lots of action today. It started off over central and southern Queensland, a line of thunderstorms early this afternoon. Quickly advanced, you can see it there, in towards the Darling Downs, through the Brisbane metro area, Sunshine Coast, inland parts of the Wide Bay. And of course the night is still young and storms are still brewing, so please keep your ears pricked for warnings. The tropics of course are mostly free of these storms, except inland areas are still getting 1 or 2, and that will be particularly the case tomorrow. So let's look at today's chart quickly. There's the inland trough that's causing the storms. It's still far away, but upper level westerly winds are strong enough to carry the storms towards the coast. Northerly winds now are predominating, so hence the warm weather. Tomorrow's chart, this will be the last day of northerlies, another very warm one and humid. This is probably the best chance of storms, even better than this afternoon for central and southern Queensland, simply because the trough is a lot closer. On the outlook chart, finally that trough starts to ease and the southern bit starts to move up the southern coast in the form of a cool southeasterly change, bringing the temperature down by a few degrees. And now the latest from the Weather Bureau. Boating forecast for Townsville waters, northerly winds 10 to 15 knots tomorrow, becoming north-northeasterly on Saturday, and then a southeasterly change on Sunday, 15 to 20 knots. New moon tomorrow, which means we've got the biggest tides of the month. First up in the morning we have high tide, followed by low tide in the afternoon. For the Herbert and Lower Burdekin, the chance of a late storm inland only. Townsville 22 to 32 degrees, Ayr also 32, Ingham 35, Northern Goldfields and Upper Flinders. Afternoon thunderstorms, Charters Towers 17 up to a very warm 37 degrees and Georgetown 36. Looking ahead for now for Townsville, no significant rainfalls expected over the next 7 days. In fact, there's a very good chance we'll see no rain at all. Temperatures remaining steady in the low 30s. And that's tonight's weather in a great big nutshell. I do hope you enjoyed the show, and I do hope you come back tomorrow to join me for the final episode of the week. Now it's over to Scotty Hillier with the fishing report.
Yeah, thanks, team. Now, just a little reminder that the Coral Reef Finfish closure is currently in force and runs right through until Saturday. Now, that operates from about Bundy North, and also the East Coast Barramundi closure kicks in tomorrow. So make sure you get your head around that. Wind looks pretty good for the weekend. Here's a couple of tips. Now, really good run of the tide thanks to that new moon. Should see plenty of fish on the chew. Now, there's another closure you need to be aware about, and that's the northern Spanish mackerel closure. It has kicked in again. Now, out offshore, really good lipper being caught at the moment on the shallows, using lightly weighted pillies along with strip bait. A couple of really good cobia along with amberjack hanging on the wrecks, taking knife jigs and live baits. Now back in those rivers and creeks, some cracking big flathead around the moment. Those big tides are going to suit chasing a couple. During that run out tide, try casting small soft plastics around the drop-offs. Also, you could try trolling small hard-bodied lures along the edges. Now check this out. My brother Brad joined me recently on a creek to coast shoot and nailed this tailor using whole pilchards, fishing Gari, Fraser Island. Good on you, Birdman. Now, I have talked about quite a few closures. If you're unsure about anything, pretty simple, jump onto the fisheries website and check them out in full. Good luck if you hit the water. Hope you've been to a couple of rods. I'll be back here next Thursday night. 7 News. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Scotty. And that wraps things up for this Thursday night.
And just a reminder, you can watch a replay of our news on 7 Plus or download the 7 News app. From all of us here, enjoy your evening. Good night.
There's still time to trick or treat. Have a good night, guys.